let's take a moment to dive into the fascinating evolution of India's foreign policy over the decades, particularly under the two major political players, the Congress Party and the Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP now. This isn't just a dry history lesson. It's a journey through the shifting sands of international relations that have shaped India's role on the global stage. So, grab a cup of chai, and let's explore how these two parties have navigated the complex waters of foreign policy. First up, let's talk about strategic alignments and partnerships. Under the Congress Party, especially during the era of leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi, India embraced a non-aligned approach. Imagine the Cold War, where the world was divided into two camps, the US and the Soviet Union. Congress aimed to keep India at an arm's length from both, focusing instead on building relationships with nations in the global south. Think Africa and Asia. This was a time when diplomacy was about dialogue, about finding common ground without getting too cozy with any major power. Fast forward to the BJP era, particularly under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and we see a stark shift. The BJP has taken a more assertive stance, leaning heavily into partnerships with countries like the US and Japan. It's as if India decided to step onto the global stage with a confident strut, aligning itself more closely with Western powers, especially encountering China's growing influence in the Indo-Pacific. This shift is not just about alliances. It's about asserting India's place in a rapidly changing world. Now, let's delve into relations with our neighbors, China and Pakistan. Congress has typically favored diplomatic engagement, believing in the power of dialogue. Sure, there were tensions, especially after the 1962 Sino-Indian War and various conflicts with Pakistan, but the Congress approach was about keeping those channels of communication open, even when things got rocky. It was a belief that talking things out could lead to resolution, a stance that reflects a certain idealism in foreign policy. Contrast that with the BJP's approach, which has been much more robust and, dare I say, aggressive. Under Modi, India has responded to border disputes with China with a newfound assertiveness, from the Doklam standoff to the Galwan clashes. And when it comes to Pakistan, the BJP's hardline stance has been evident, especially after incidents like the Uri attack and the Pulwama bombing. Surgical strikes and airstrikes became the new lexicon of India's defense strategy, marking a shift from dialogue to decisive action. Moving on to regional and global influence, Congress has historically focused on strengthening ties within South Asia and promoting South-South cooperation. They played a pivotal role in the non-aligned movement, advocating for multilateralism through platforms like the United Nations. It was about building bridges, fostering unity among developing nations. In contrast, the BJP has expanded India's reach into the Indo-Pacific, championing initiatives like the Quad, an alliance with the US, Japan, and Australia. Modi's government is all about projecting India as a global power, participating actively in forums like the G20, and leveraging cultural diplomacy to enhance India's soft power. It's a shift from a regional focus to a broader global ambition, showcasing India's potential on the world stage. Now let's talk defense and security. Congress has traditionally emphasized self-reliance, promoting indigenization in defense capabilities. The nuclear policy, particularly under Rajiv Gandhi, was cautious, leading to the landmark Pokhran II tests in 1988, which were a significant step, but still rooted in a philosophy of strategic autonomy. The BJP, however, has taken a different route, prioritizing modernization and increased defense spending. They've fostered defense partnerships with other nations and championed the Make in India initiative, aiming to bolster domestic defense manufacturing. This proactive stance on nuclear and missile defense policies reflects a more assertive approach to national security, aligning with the BJP's overall strategy of strength and readiness. Let's not forget economic diplomacy. Congress governments have historically focused on trade and investment, particularly with the Global South and Europe. The economic liberalization of the early 90s under P.V. Narasimha Rao was a game-changer, opening up India to the global economy in a significant way. The BJP has taken this a step further, accelerating economic diplomacy and forging stronger ties with major economies like the US, Japan, and the EU. Modi's government has emphasized attracting foreign direct investment, leveraging India's vast market to secure beneficial trade deals. It's about positioning India as a key player in the global economic landscape, showcasing our potential as a market and an investment destination. Finally, let's touch on cultural and diaspora diplomacy. Congress maintained ties with the Indian diaspora, but didn't elevate it as a central pillar of foreign policy. Their cultural diplomacy was more about projecting India as a secular and pluralistic nation. In contrast, the BJP has ramped up engagement with the Indian diaspora, using it as a tool to enhance India's global influence. Modi's government has embraced cultural diplomacy, promoting India's rich heritage and civilization on the world stage, often highlighting Hindu cultural symbols. It's a strategy that aims to connect with Indians abroad, while also asserting a cultural identity that resonates on a global scale. So, there you have it. The foreign policies of the Congress Party and the BJP reflect two distinct philosophies, one rooted in non-alignment and diplomacy, the other in assertiveness and strategic alignment. As India continues to navigate its path on the global stage, understanding these differences is crucial. It's not just about politics, it's about how India positions itself in a world that is constantly evolving. The choices made today will shape the narrative of tomorrow, and it's a story that's still being written.